Uncovering Truth, and I am Pastor Forbes from Abiding Word Ministries. Tonight we continue our discussion to a large extent on leadership. If you remember, we have been discussing the story of a young man who became the king of Israel after his father basically got old, and the young man's name was Solomon and his father was David or Dauda. And for a little recap, you remember that David had really not spoken about his succession planning, and whenever there is that vacuum, except where there is a law, statute, or some constitutional provision in a kingdom, in a monarchy, in a parliamentary or republican national lifestyle or a democracy, chances are there's going to be some kind of confusion, even in an office, even in a company, really, even in a church, even in any place where people look up to leadership. When there is a leadership vacuum and nothing had been prescribed prior, there tends to be some kind of upheaval and agitation. So David had about at least four or five sons, but the two that are important in terms of our discourse is the one called Adonijah, who just decided to make himself king, and he got a part of the priesthood and the authorities of those days to install him into office as the king of Israel. And he had a party celebrating his kingdom and his kingship, if you like. And then the other people went to the king's wife. Her name was Bathsheba, and that's Solomon's mother, and asked her, but I thought the king had said to you that Solomon, your son, would reign in his stead. How come Adonijah has made himself king? So Bathsheba goes to talk to her ailing husband, King David, who says, of course, it's Solomon. So David summons the proper authority, and Solomon is made king. So it looks as if there are two kings in the realm. But when Adonijah and his partying company hear that there's a whole lot of noise in Israel, the blowing of trumpets, the celebration of a whole nation, as opposed to his own small grouping, he inquires, what is going on? And he's told that your father David has said that Solomon, your brother, is king. And so Adonijah fears for his life and runs into the temple looking for refuge, trusting, and maybe rightly so, that once he's in the house of God, once he's in a religious place, that he will be preserved and protected and shown some amount of clemency or mercy. Unfortunately, his running into the synagogue was just a ploy, so later, of course, he died, and Solomon became like king. There was no contender anymore. There was no rival. And then God encountered King Solomon as a young man in his dream at night. And we've talked about sometimes the vividness of dreams, where you can dream something in the night and literally see it happen during the day. We also want to certainly counsel ourselves that not all dreams are real. Some are a function of just the fatigue of your mind or the busyness and the traffic of your emotions. So what you were dealing with physically while your five senses were alert sometimes spills over in the esoteric, in the metaphysical, in your mind, and it becomes a dream. And every student can tell you that before their exam results come out, they dream. Some people can tell you that the night before their wedding, they dream. Somebody can tell you that after they have been refused a US visa for long, and they finally get this visa, the night before they travel, not only do they not sleep, sometimes in that little time of sleeping, they dream all kinds of funny dreams. And so not all dreams are always true. They're just an overload of mental activity in our hearts. But Solomon's own was real. God encountered him in a dream, and God asked him this all-important question: ask me what I will do for you. And we have been saying over the past weeks that when certain questions are asked you, wisdom would determine that you take your time before you answer, except you had already prepared an answer because you were anticipating that question and you had looked at it from all kinds of angles. But if you have never been faced with that, except if you are in an examination setting where you have to learn to think on your feet, especially if it's an oral examination or a job interview, then you really have to be thinking on your feet. You have to be able to bring your intelligence to bear. It's like playing the game Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or The Weakest Link, especially Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, when they give you 4 questions and you don't always really know the answer. Instead of using your phone a friend, your helpline and all that, ask the audience. Sometimes you can just use your intelligence and eliminate by critically looking at the question and eliminate. And most times you can be right, and even if you're wrong, you could tell that you were close by. But sometimes when these questions are asked you, because they are destiny making, destiny deciding, life transforming questions, you have to take time to know what to answer. So God asks Solomon, after Solomon has sacrificed 1,000 offerings to God, he is obviously tired, he's asleep. God comes to him in his mind, in his spirit, in his heart, in a dream, and asks him, what is it that you want? Why all these sacrifices? What do you want for me to do? And we've decided from the scriptures in the first book of Kings, 1 Kings from chapter 3, from verse 5 downwards, we have decided that God really was touched by this young man's response, because the setting that brought him to the throne was such that he should have asked for all his brothers maybe to be killed, banished, given life imprisonment, or brought into some kind of servitude and slavery, that they will never dream of usurping power from their brother. They will pledge an oath of loyalty, blind loyalty, allegiance and all that, or maybe they'll be wiped out. He would also ask for a perpetual reign on the throne. He would also ask for wealth. But interestingly enough, Solomon, a young man, probably in his 19, 20, 21, that gap, asked God for what he called a wise and an understanding heart. A large heart. Different translations of the Bible write it differently, but they all carry the same import. Some say a large heart, some say a wise and an understanding heart, some translations say largeness of heart. The question we want to discuss tonight, and probably next week by the grace of God, is why would Solomon ask for wisdom? Why would he ask for an understanding heart? I offer 2 answers. The first would come straight from the Bible. There is a book which I'm sure most of you have heard me talk about over and over. It's a book that I recommend we read every month because it has 31 chapters, so you can just take 1 chapter a day, and by and large you will get to the end of the book at the end of a month. It's the book of Proverbs. Proverbs, of course, are sayings that have a meaning. They could be little sayings with big meanings. And in the middle of the Bible, just after the Psalms, is the book of Proverbs. And in Proverbs chapter 4, from verse 1 all the way to 15, there is a deep teaching on wisdom. But in verse 7 and verse 8, from verse 6 actually, it goes like this: my son, get wisdom, and in all thy getting, get understanding. The next verse says, for wisdom is the principal thing. Principal, P-A-L, not principal. So it's almost like wisdom is the head of the school. He's the head teacher. Where there is knowledge and there is facts, there is information, there is social skills, there is motivation, there is street sense, there is all that. Wisdom is the principal, because in a little definition, it's like the ability not just to gather information, but to release it in such a way that you are unscathed. You navigate yourself through all kinds of scenarios because you are implementing knowledge and information in a wise way. And so it says, get wisdom, and with all you're getting, get understanding, because wisdom is the principal thing. It's number one. It's first. The children will say it's take. That's first. And so for this young king to ask for that meant that his priorities were right. Are you in any form of leadership? Have you just been voted into office? It could be a small community leadership, it could be a school leadership, a religious leadership, it could be government leadership. In any form, the first thing you should ask for is not a car, It's not what your fuel allowance is. It's not a diplomatic passport or a service passport. It's not what your per diem is. It's not where was the last conference that should have been attended by your predecessor who left office and now it's your turn to attend. It's not whether a house comes with your office. It's not how many offices you have, how many stewards you have. It is not whether you're going to be given VIP access at the airport. The first thing you must ask for is wisdom. Why? Because except, ladies and gentlemen, and really I say that advisedly, except in a monocultural system. What I mean by monocultural system is like you are leading a people who are all the same. For example, let's say you are leading all Mandinkas, you are leading all French speakers, you are leading everybody in your group is 18, 18, 18. They were all born the same year. Then maybe. But if you are leading a multicultural, multi-ethnic, diverse, intertribal, across color barriers, religious persuasions, some people are poor, some are rich, some are smart, some are not smart, some are in jail, some are in hospitals, some are walking on their feet, some go to nightclubs, some drink, some are religious. If you're dealing with different constituencies, then the ability to synergize them all. And let me use our nation, because our national anthem has this phrase, for the common good. Your ability, my ability, anybody in leadership's ability to synergize them all for the common good, so it becomes a win-win situation for everybody across the board, irrespective of what they feel religiously, politically, academically, those who go to school, those who are beggars, those who are, blind, those whatever. The ability to synergize them calls for wisdom. Because ordinarily, no one man, woman has enough power, mental ability to galvanize and drive people in a forward, positive, upward, empowering, expansioning, prosperous, economically advancing dimension. No one person has that. As a matter of fact, it even goes, there's a statement that says diversity is the spice of life. So sometimes when it's monolithic, it's interesting. I usually crack a joke when I'm talking to pastors in particular. And most people, particularly in our country, our type of churches, you call them born-again churches. So people talk about the born-again churches. But by and large, they are like Pentecostal or charismatic or what you might want to call New Testament churches. Not to say others are not, but basically that's how they're called. And I usually try to tell people that those are some of the most difficult churches to pastor. Why? Because none of us has original, in the real sense of original, as if, except the children that were born in the church. But most people either came in from another church, from another country, and they came in with their ideas. The Anglican came, the Baptist came, the Roman Catholic came, the Lutheran came, the Pentecostal came, somebody came from Islam, somebody came from Buddhism, somebody was a gay, somebody has a broken marriage, somebody is divorced, somebody is a single parent, somebody, has low self-esteem. People come with all kinds, and they come together to sit under this pastor who is supposed to guide them all with their different views and opinions on how it should be done. Now, if you go to chances like when you go to other churches, let me talk a little bit about churches. I mean, you'll understand the Anglican order of service. You understand the Roman Catholic Missal. You understand the Mass, how it goes. Chances are you even understand the Methodist, being a former Methodist myself and still a Methodist, by the way. You can understand when the service starts, when the wicked man turns away from his wickedness, or the introit, as we call it, or the Anglicans will say the gradual. Jesus stand amongst us in his risen power. So everybody understands. Some people can even recite it by heart. They know that after this, the organ is going to play something, and the priest will say, I believe in one God, and everybody knows what to do. But when people come together differently, this one is bringing their own tradition, this one is bringing their own way, this one is bringing what they thought, this one was pastored that way, this one used to sing that way, this one's church played organ, this one's church plays drums, this one claps, this one's tie a scarf, this one's don't wear trousers, this one's the women sit here, this one's the men sit there. When you bring them all together, ladies and gentlemen, you need wisdom in every form of leadership to move a people. And let me say this, they are not intransigent, rebellious, always opposing people. They're just people that have come with a different method. And people carry their methodology with them. When you go to Europe and you go to a typical African house, you can understand it. Maybe the house is built in Europe, in America, in England, wherever. It has 3 bedrooms, but there are 9 people living there, at least. You know, some are squeezing room with the children, some are sleeping on the sofa, and you know, in the African system we understand it. So when you also land in JFK or Heathrow or Baltimore or Gatwick or wherever, you know, you go with your case, you say, boy, now you just look for a corner where to put your things, bath, leave your sponge, wash your underwear, and you move out, and everybody is hustling, taking things from the fridge, putting things, and we understand it is community. When it's time to eat the benachin, we bring it down, we touch door, because we understand that. But in other places, it's not like that. So people come with their mindset, the person that has been disappointed, the one who was duped, even the crook comes. It's like the dubious joy we as pastors have at the end of the calendar year, the 31st December, what we call the watch night service or the crossover. It's interesting. I am fond of saying in abiding word, see you next year, this time, same place. Because these are people you only see on the 31st of December, quarter to midnight. They are coming from all kinds of places. They want to be in the house of God. They want to be in a church to be prayed for. And depending on how the prayer is done, in some of our churches, people come to the front and they are prayed for. We place our hands on them. And the pastors can tell you there is all types and shades of alcoholic smell, cigarette, all kinds, because the people are coming from everywhere. But you have to absorb them. So if you deal with them by your own prejudices, by your own, only your own way of doing things, chances are there's going to be a fallout. So here was Solomon. He knew that he now is king, but Adonijah is there. Those who supported Adonijah are there. The opposition people are there. His own other brothers are there. Other people are there. And ladies and gentlemen, one of the great things about, one of the great challenges about leadership, it takes me back to a book I read once when I was flying somewhere in North America, and this gentleman wrote a book and he was describing 2 sets of people. He said he has one set of people in his life called his enemies. And he said he understands them because when he sees them, he knows they are not for him, they are against him, they are adversarial to him. So he's able to level out with them. Then he wrote in the book, he said, the problem he has is not with his enemies, but with his frenemies. So he coined a phrase between friends and enemies. He dropped the NDS and he joined them and he said his frenemies. Those are the people who say, we are with you, I am with you, I support you, I'll be there. You are my friend, we are from the same country, my cousin, we went to school together. But they are undermining you. They are actively working against you. He called them his frenemies. And he said it's difficult to note them because they come as friends. They hug you, they kiss you, they give you a high five. But behind you, they are tearing you down. Yet in leadership, you deal with them all together. And as the Bible puts it, there's a book in the Bible in 1 Timothy chapter 2 from verse 26. It says that in leadership we must not be quarrelsome, but we must so open our heart in such a way that even those who oppose us, just by how we carry ourselves, they can come to the realization of the fact that maybe Satan has held them captive to do his will. So these are major challenges in leadership. So in any form of leadership, Osusu leadership, ask for wisdom. I'm not talking about street wisdom. I'm not talking about Gambian wisdom. Ladies and gentlemen, if earthly wisdom was the ultimate wisdom, we will have no problem in this world. Every problem would be solved. But look at how many peacekeeping missions there are in the world. Look at how many times people are counseling and trying to bring people together to speak peace, to talk and talk. Because the wisdom we need to solve problems has to come from above, from on high, from God. And God gives it to us when we ask him, and when we ask him in sincerity and in truth. Because what you don't know, you don't know. And when you don't know, you can be groping in the dark. Recently, I was in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and something very strange happened to me, and I had to be helped. We got there in the night and, checked into my hotel, and, the next day was just a resting day, and we had this major dinner for us there. And when I got into the dinner, I had prior to that sent an email to my daughter and a few friends that please pray for me. I don't know what's happening. I'm not feeling well. I am breathless. Something is wrong. And when I walked into the dinner, my pastor said to me, Francis, how are you dealing with the breathing? And I said to him, sir, there is something wrong here. He said, don't you know you are 8,000 feet above sea level? I said, oh my God, that is what the problem is. I am used to Gambia, sea level, flat, and suddenly I found myself 8,000 plus feet above sea level, and every 5-minute walk I was breathless, thinking, what's going to happen? And all kinds of things come across your mind. Is this the final hour? What am I going to say? What is happening? Is this a mini stroke? Is it a heart attack? Is it this? And we all had such a good laugh, and we discovered that those of us who came from West Africa in this global conference, we were all affected, especially if it was our first time, because it looked okay. Other people were there, they were enjoying it, many people were in the hotel, but I was breathless, and I was wondering. But until you come into the true knowledge of what the problem is, you don't know. You might be saying, I'm dying, something is wrong, let me write my last will and testament. But when I understood what it is, I was okay. So it is with wisdom. You want to deal with altitudes, high altitudes. You want to deal with so many issues. You need to know what it is. If not, you will misprescribe because you have misdiagnosed. And a friend of mine cracked a joke. He said to me, now you know why West Africans find it difficult to win the long distance races. I said, exactly. And I know why they are very good at the sprints. Because those guys live 8,000-10,000 feet above sea level, so they're used to that. That's almost the height or altitude to which a plane might fly from here to Dakar. With compressed oxygen, other people are using their lungs to do the job. We need wisdom with whatever we do. We need to ask for wisdom. And King Solomon asked for wisdom, and God gave him. And the wisdom became the basis of his management, his guidance, his governance skills. Because, ladies and gentlemen, you would all realize that in life, there's always something to say or something not to say. There is a response to be made or a response not to be made. There is a scripture I want to end with. It's in the book of Proverbs. It's chapter 26, verse 4 and verse 5. If you read it on the surface, you may think that there is a mistake in the Bible. It goes something like this: never answer a fool according to his folly. Then the next verse says, answer a fool according to his folly. So for some time I've been wondering, but 1 minute you're saying do not answer, the next minute you're saying answer. Then of course, as you pray and you ask God for insight and you talk with mature people, I got to find out that sometimes you must know when to talk, and there are times when you must know not to talk. There's a time when you answer a fool and you look smart. There's a time when you answer a fool and you look just like him. So you must know how, when, where, what, why, and to whom to speak, to respond, if you must, because you must not always. And so Solomon asked God for wisdom to guide his people, to know when to talk, when not to talk, when to answer back, when not to answer back, how to judge between the people, how to do this, how to lead. He needed wisdom. And ladies and gentlemen, as I end, there is no university in this world for wisdom. True wisdom comes from God. You can be street smart, you can be wise as a virtue, as a reason of your age, the long time you have spent on this earth. But we all know that the oldest people in the world are not necessarily the wisest. But there's a lot to learn from them because they have made mistakes. So sometimes, at all times, in every situation, let's ask God for wisdom. At every strata of leadership, all the way to national, global leadership, when the UN General Assembly or the AU meets, I think they need to ask God for wisdom, because only God knows everybody's heart, and only God knows how to organize everybody's heart and make it well for the common good and for the peace of everybody. Until I come your way next week, by God's grace, this is Pastor Forbes saying, have a good evening, God bless us all, and good night.
Discover the smiling coast of Africa.
Mama J dimanche bu nekk ci GRTS ci juróom ñaari waxtu yee genn wàll ci ngoon ba ci juróom ñetti waxtu yi jamono ji programme bu xew te ànd ak jamono.
Nanka déedéet duñ def nanka de waa lu tax loolu
Tiara flavor drink dafa neex
waaw wax leen ma ci flavor yi ma dégg
an orange laa bëgg
man strawberry laa bëgg
man mango laa bëgg
man pineapple coconut laa bëgg
man berry laa bëgg man pineapple laa bëgg te Tiara flavor drink moo ma sawarloo
Tiara flavor drink xale yi bëgg nañ ko te itam mag yi bëgg nañ ko ñëw na ci juróom benni façon flavor pineapple coconut berries strawberry mango ak itam orange ñi leen ko andil ñii di waa MFH group ak waa King Food Banjo Tiara flavor drink moo fi man
réewi Gambia mbir feeñati na mbir ma mooy lan li nga xamante ne mooy affectif mu doon lu neex lool nee naa leen du pour xale de te du pour mag it ñëpp a ci bokk yem génnuñ dem fenn liggéeyee ko fa wala génnuñ dem jëndee ji ko fenn fii ci biir réewi Gambia lañ ko liggéeyee kon naka affectif boutique boo dem rek fekk ko fa supermarket boo dem fekk ko fa rawatina li nga xamante ne mooy mini market fi Chips nekk na ci ñaari paquet yoo xamante ne benn bi $3 laa jar benn bi $6 laa jar ba nga xamante ne $6 laa jar man nee naa ku ko jënd ku ne di nga fekk li nga xamante ne mooy yóbbal ba mooy lan lu neex lool wala lu rafet xale bi ku ko si jàpp rek ku ne boo ko foyee rek kontaan bàyyi ko fii ci réewi Gambia ñu koy jaayee fii ci réewi Gambia kon nag man nee naa jaarama Afrique Chips daw leen uti Afrique Chips ku ko ci uti ku ne rek lekk loo ko ku ne rek di nga am lu la naxari kon nag balaa Afrique Chips di jeex ne leen ko daw wuti jaarama Afrique Chips.
QCell's SMS Plus service. Get 125 anytime SMS for only $5. Just dial *545 *5# and send. QCell's SMS Plus. Sending SMS is now cheaper than ever. QCell, Senior Boss, the Gambia's quality network.
li nga xam ne moo génne suma soññee suma bakkan bi li fa toog yëpp moo ko génne xale yi ñëw jël ko mais ma dem sa biir suma mil loolu yi nga jël di séddoo ko xale yi te bi ma ci gën a soxla sax moom la ñu ko joxe jox ma suma mil lii mag yee ko gën a soxla waaw Fayda loo bëgg a ma Fayda la mil loolu waaw taatu leen mil loolu
Minti ñëw ci ñetti façon ci mentol ci nana ak ci mango bépp boutique wala marché wala tabal foo dem am ko Minoli Minti ñu leen ko fi indi di waa kër sunu boutique nekk ci 20 Picton Street ci Banjul Minoli Minti moo saf xale yi ak mag ñi.
The true story Alex Haley uncovered in his 12 years search across the 7 generations of his ancestry. We present this incredible saga in an epic motion picture. Roots, the current #1 best-selling novel, is the television event of the year. From primitive Africa to the Old South. Roots sweeps across the panorama of a young America, bursting with all the dreams, all the joys, and all the hardships of a vibrant country and its people through the years of slavery. The Civil War.
Are we gonna work them Yankees?
Reconstruction. And the struggle to survive.
We want you, nigga.
A film spanning more than 100 years, generation to generation, continent to continent, slavery to freedom.
Hear me, O African. The flesh of your flesh has come to freedom. We are free.
Punta Kinte. Now, we are proud to present the triumph of an American family, Roots.
Very nice country.
Catching the sun.
Just sitting here doing nothing.
This is precisely what you've been looking for. A vacation in some exotic destination. Green and always sunny, amid ever blue skies, navigable rivers, and clean white beaches. Begging for a lazy day, you gotta be in the destination which brings together all these qualities. It's 2013 and time to experience the ultimate break, savoring moments that will stay with you forever. Discover the characterful delight of this smiling coast on the expedition with me, Ibrahim Ajata, at this time on GRTS.
of Africa.
Basically, what EchoBiz aims to do is set up an online directory, a database of businesses that are operating within the ECOWAS community, businesses that wish to be known, that wish to gain exposure, businesses that wish to have trading partners amongst the sub-region. We all know that in our trade policies, our various trade policies within the sub-region, we always emphasize the importance of inter-regional or cross-regional trade between one another, as opposed to just trading with the EU or trading with the US. When we trade amongst ourselves, we minimize most of our costs. We promote locally homegrown resources. So the benefits go a long way. And therefore, the ministry has always emphasized that in their formulation of their trade policies. And so are the ministries of trade in Dakar and in Mali and in respective countries in the sub-region.
The Ministry of Trade, like we always said, we've been in collaboration with the Gambia Chamber of Commerce. And any initiative that they undertake, they always consult the ministry. And in that line, we are very delighted to be associated with them in this regard. EchoBiz, I think, is a very important initiative because it's in line with the ministry's strategies, especially when it comes to access to information, business information, or even having a profile information on the different businesses. So the ministry, some of you who were here at the opening ceremony of the trade fair, the minister of the Ministry of Trade has re-echoed the importance of having information on business, and he highlighted some of the initiatives or the strategies that the ministry has undertaken in that line. One of it is the the trade information system that the ministry is working in collaboration with the Enhanced Integrated Framework Project. It is to have a trade information that will be accessible by businesses and enterprises when it comes to products, market access information, and even how to expand on their businesses. And also the ministry, in collaboration with the Gambia GCP, that's the Gambia Growth and Competitiveness Project under the ministry, we're working on the single window business registration project. That is, it has made a lot of progress, and all that is geared towards making sure that access to information to the business community is available and it is done in the right way. So in all that aspects, you can find out that the Ministry of Trade is also doing all it can to make sure that business information is accessible, on time, affordable by the business community. So on that line, we are very much happy on behalf of the authorities of the ministry to be associated with this initiative. And we congratulate the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and its partners for taking such an initiative. Because anywhere the businesses, the Gambian businesses, they have, in as much as they want to trade, in as much as they want to export, it will be important for them to know what are the market access informations of our trading partners. They need to know what are the products, what are the competitiveness of their products, what are some of the trade laws that govern those products in the various trading partners or in the various markets that we want to export. So it's very important, and we urge the business community to make best use of such initiatives.
In January 2013, Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry signed an MOU with CICES. CICES is the organization in Senegal that organizes trade fairs. Unlike us in the Gambia, it is the Chamber of Commerce. But with Senegal, they have a different company that is charged with this responsibility. So we entered into partnership with CICES in 2013 to organize this fair. The benefits of the partnership include provision of 25 square meter space for CICES, and CICES will also do the same when they are at FIDAC, when they organize their trade fair, for us to be able to communicate, promote, and market our trade fairs and any exhibitions that we have. The second benefit is also technical assistance in terms of organizing the trade fair. This year, I was at FIDAC, and I gained a lot of technical experience from them, a lot of technical expertise. And now also we have Mrs. Ramagay, the EchoBiz administrator from CISES, to work with us. The other benefit of the partnership is technical assistance in terms of implementing EchoBiz Gambia. And this is why Mrs. K is here. And finally also, there would be a technical assistance in terms of networking our businesses so that they can, through business-to-business meetings and training programs. I want to thank you all, and EchoBiz proper will be presented by my colleague from Senegal. Her name is Mrs. Ramatoulaye Gueye.
Donc ñun boobu ba léegi chambre de commerce bu Banjul ak foire de Dakar dañ doon jéem a taxawal lii comme nu ma ko waxee parce que ñaari institution yëpp gis nañ ci njëriñ donc loolu moo tax ma ñëw fii jàppale pour ñun aussi bu ñuy def foire waa Gambie ñëw aussi jàppale wax na affaire kii bi liggéey bi ba pare affaire EchoBiz bi lu tax mu gën a taxaw dafa nekk leen loo xam ne CEDEAO moo ko créé def ko ci pays CEDEAO yëpp donc Gambie am na ko Sénégal am na ko Guinée ainsi de suite léegi boo gisee CEDEAO taxawal ko dafa bëgg a jàppale entreprise yi nekk ci dëkkam kenn ku nekk ci li ngay def loo soxla nga ñëw ci database bi jëlee fa information yi léegi pour dëkk bu nekk pour kenn ku nekk mën a participer ci loolu walla bëgg a am bénéfice ci loolu da ngay remplir benn formulaire benn forme comme ni ngeen koy waxee donc boo ko rempliré indi ko ci ñi nga xam ne ñoo yor charge système bi ñooñu mën a dugal base bi dugal données yi ci biir base bi mën nañ leen woon benn exemple formulaire ñuy ñaan ku ko amul aussi nga laajte ko fii ñu jox la nga mën a remplir parce que boo remplirul duñu mën a dugal sa entreprise ci base bi donc lii mooy première chose bi forme bi lan moo ci nekk turu entreprise bi ak adresse am contact yi ensuite activité wu entreprise bi ak li muy jaay walla lu muy jënd produit bi maanaam donc buñ ko remplir indil ko fii lady bi ñu dugal ko ci base de données bi bu ñëpp remplir base de données bi moo ñuy wax par exemple am na ku rempliroon mu ngi tudd par exemple damay jël ni benn exemple mu ngi tudd Africell nee na day jaay ay puces électroniques léegi bu amee koo xam ni aussi dafa nekk ci domaine boobu bëgg a jënd puce électronique ñu boole leen ñoom ñaar ñu mit ainsi de suite bu amee ñuy jaay fii gerte am ku bëggoon jënd gerte database bi bu ñu dugalee données yi rek système bi moo ñoo wax kii mooy jaay lii kii mooy jënd li ñu dem informer leen maanaam wax leen ne am ngeen partenaire woo leen ñu ñëw fii ñu d'accord ci waxtu boo xam ne ci la ñuy daje ñu toog mun a def meeting ci la partnership yi di juddu ci la technical kii yi di am ainsi de suite donc loolu mooy suñu objectif te dama gis ne ak thème mu foire bi ànd na torop parce que maa ngi gis ci seen benn document ñu bind ci thème mu foire bi entreprise yi lay jàppale donc lii ça vient à son heure donc loolu mooy suñu taxawaay fii jàppale ci loolu bëgg nag formulaire yëpp exposants yi nekk fii yëpp remplir formulaire parce que bu ñaar walla ñett rek remplir duñu mën a bari ay meeting yu ñuy organiser il faut que ñuy remplir bari comme ça ci la ñuy gën a am possibilité di organiser meeting.
The Gambia is launching EchoBiz today, and according to the information, EchoBiz is there to provide, vital information for businesses to, interact and share SK. How can one access this EchoBiz, and how can local people also benefit from this new information system, and how will it, what impact will it have on the operation of their respective businesses in this sub-region?
First and foremost, we are the administrators of the EchoBiz, meaning the Gambia Chamber of Commerce. So your first step would be to pay a visit to the Chamber of Commerce, either a member or a non-member. But that would be your first step. Another important component of becoming more visible online would be you would need to have your business, you would need to have a business email, either a business email or a personal email that you can have online to be able to check constantly. Another thing also could be, if you talk about benefits, you really want to urge enterprises to become more formal also. You want to encourage formalization of businesses. Without formalization, you really wouldn't know who they are, who these enterprises or businesses are, what it is that they're doing. Because if the Aegis chambers don't have that information, neither do the GCCI, we really wouldn't be able to place them in any kind of database to be able to benefit from EchoBiz. But I'll allow Ms. Prom to continue that question.
Thank you very much. Sarata has answered the question very well, but I'll just need to add that we have the forms. From today, we are distributing. So anybody, our girls would go out to the stands, those who have stalls here, and give them the forms. But after today, we will continue. If you want to become a member of Chamber of Commerce, immediately when we give you that form, we will also give you the form for EchoBiz. And gradually, we will go into town to visit businesses that are not currently participating here. Some of them were already in the database, but we need to update their information because it's been a while since we last had the